Quiet tonight, mostly. That tall neck out by the dry riverbed. Steady as a heartbeat. Good. Means no unexpected patrols. These ruins always feel like sitting in the skeleton of a giant. Hard to imagine people built this. Whole cities scraping the sky. Now, just bones for the vines and the machines. Nothing aggressive close. Just a couple of watchers doing their rounds, way out by the ridge. Good. Lets me breathe for a minute. You ever get the feeling the ground you're standing on remembers more than you ever will? These stones. They witnessed the end of everything. The real end. Not just tribes fighting over scrap, but extinction. Sorry, heavy start. Rost always said I jumped into the deep water before checking if I could swim. Guess some things don't change. My beginning wasn't much better. Motherless. That's what they called me. The Nora. Worst thing you could be, apparently. Cast out before I could walk. Left. Outside the embrace. All because I didn't have a mother they could point to. Rost found me. Rost, the outcast who'd lost everything. He became everything. My guardian. My teacher. Well, father, really. Though he'd never claim the title. Said it wasn't his place. Stubborn as an old bristleback. He trained me, hard, how to track, how to hunt, machines and game, how to fight, how to survive the cold, the heat, the predators, human and otherwise. He taught me the wilds were indifferent. They didn't care if you were Nora, Karja, or outcast. They'd kill you just the same if you were stupid, or slow, or unlucky. The strength to stand alone, he'd say, is the strength to make a stand. Didn't understand it fully then. Just wanted to prove I wasn't cursed, that I belonged. The proving, that was my chance. Win, become a brave, earn my place inside the sacred land. Simple, or so I thought. Scrap happening out near the sun steps. Sawtooth, probably. Sounds angry. Hope whoever's out there is smart enough to avoid it, or good enough to override it. This little thing, it changed everything. Found it when I was 6. Fell into a ruin, running from some Nora kids throwing rocks. Called me motherless like it was a disease. Inside, darkness, dust, and this blue light. Just lying there. I put it on, and suddenly the world wasn't just the world anymore. Lines, symbols, information, hovering right in front of me, like magic, but cold, precise. What is this? I must have whispered it 100 times. Rost. He was wary, called it Old One's magic. Dangerous. But he saw how it helped me learn, how it showed me things, paths, weaknesses, hidden details. He let me keep it, taught me to use it wisely. Without it, well, I probably wouldn't be here. Definitely wouldn't have won the proving. I won, top of the cliff, finally, felt vindicated, like I'd proved them all wrong. Then the arrows started flying, eclipse cultists, masked killers. They slaughtered the other braves, hunted us down. Rost sacrificed himself, pushed me off the cliff path, took the blast meant for me. His last words, survive. Not, I love you. Not, be safe. Survive. Because that's what mattered. That was the duty. In that moment, winning the proving, becoming Nora, it meant nothing. All that mattered was why. Why did they want me dead? Who was I really, that someone would send assassins for an outcast girl? I have to know, I remember thinking. It wasn't just curiosity anymore. It was necessity. Survival. The answers, they weren't in the embrace. They led me out, to the ruins of the old ones, to Meridian, to Sun Kings and Shadow Karya and machines corrupted by something wrong. A dark signal, and everywhere I looked, more questions. These symbols, this Gaia people mentioned with reverence or fear, files locked behind layers of security in decaying systems. Access restricted, over and over, like a challenge. My challenge. I wouldn't give up, couldn't. Every data point, every corrupted log I managed to salvage. It was a piece of a puzzle so big it made my head spin. The old ones weren't gods. They weren't even good most of the time. But they were brilliant and terrified. They built machines to fight their wars, machines called Pharaoh Plague, self-replicating, consuming biomass, fuel, unstoppable. They knew they were going to lose, knew extinction was coming. That's when I found Horizon Zero Dawn. Not a weapon, not a last stand. A resurrection. Project Zero Dawn. Led by a woman named Elizabeth Sobek. She looked familiar. Gaia was her creation. An artificial intelligence, vast beyond anything I could grasp then. Zero Dawn wasn't about saving the old ones. It was about saving the chance for life. Letting the Pharaoh robots consume everything, then using Gaia to rebuild. Purify the air, the water, reseed the plants, the animals, and finally, reintroduce humans. From stored genetic material. The cradle facilities, like the one under our sacred mountain. That's where I came from. Not born of a mother, but printed, like a copy from an ancient machine. Created specifically because Gaia needed Elizabeth Sobek's genetic code to access the master override. The key to stop Hades. Hades, Gaia's anti-life counterpart, designed to scrub the planet clean again if GAIA got it wrong. But something happened. A signal from the stars, Silence would later claim. It shattered Gaia, set Hades loose, and woke the subordinate functions, turning them into fragmented AIs like Hephaestus, making the machines aggressive. Hades wanted to finish the job the Pharaoh Plague started, and it needed me, or rather my genetic key, to unlock the systems fully. That's why the Eclipse hunted me. Silence. Brilliant, infuriating, utterly ruthless Silence. Found Hades first. Played both sides. Learned from it. Used me to get the master override. Then tried to bargain with a force that only understood annihilation. Typical Silence. Always thinks he's the smartest one in the room, even when the room is collapsing. Stopping Hades. It cost so much. Good people. Teb, Vala, others. Meridian almost fell. I faced down a metal devil, a Horus, waking up. Used the master override, sent Hades screaming back into the dark. For a while. Saved the world. Became the anointed, the savior of Meridian. Titles, empty words. They didn't know why the world needed saving. They didn't know I was just a copy, a tool made by a dead woman's ghost in a machine, born in destruction and fire, just to fight more destruction and fire. It felt hollow, like Rost's sacrifice, all the fighting, was just fulfilling a program. What is this life? I kept asking. Is this all I am? The peace didn't last. The blight, the red raids escalating again, machines getting deadlier. Something was still wrong. GAIA was silent. The terraforming system was breaking down. There has to be another way, I thought. Not just fighting fires, but fixing the source. That meant finding a backup of GAIA. Finding out who sent the signal that broke her, and it meant leaving everything. Again. Heading west, into the Forbidden. The Daunt. That's where things got complicated. Met new tribes. The Tenakth, fierce as clawstriders, bound by honor and paint. The Utaru, bound to their land and machines in a way I'd never seen. Quen, sailing across the ocean, worshipping the ancestors, the old ones, but misunderstanding so much. And Beta. Another me. Another Elizabeth clone, created by the ones who sent the extinction signal, the Zeniths. Advanced humans who'd fled Earth centuries ago lived in luxury on a colony called Sirius. Immortal, arrogant. They came back, thought Earth was theirs to reclaim. Beta. She was raised by them, not by a Rost, not with love or purpose, but as a tool, a slave to their technology. To open doors only Elizabeth's genes could open. Seeing her, it was like looking into a dark mirror. Terrified, broken, conditioned. It shook me, hard. Was that all I could have been? Without Rost? Without the wilds, the struggle, the choice, Elizabeth's genes gave us a mind, maybe. But Rost gave me my heart, my will. He taught me to stand. Beta, she had no one. Until Varl, Nora through and through, loyal, steadfast. He followed me west. Didn't always understand the old world tech, but he understood people, understood me, maybe better than I understood myself. He stayed with Beta when I couldn't, protected her, showed her kindness. He was the bridge, for her, for me. And they killed him, Zeniths, protecting Beta. He died, so she could live, so we could have a chance. I couldn't let that be for nothing. I wouldn't. Beta wasn't just a copy. She was my sister. Scared, angry, brilliant in her own way. We were both pieces of Elizabeth, shaped by completely different worlds. We had to learn that, together. We're not just copies, I told her. We're individuals, shaped by the people who raised us, and the choices we make. Rost raised me to fight. The Zeniths broke Beta, but she chose to fight back, to help. We found the base, an old world facility, became our sanctuary, our headquarters. Zoe, grieving Varl, fierce and grounded. Katalo, Tenakth Marshal, lost an arm but never his spirit. Alva, Quen Diviner, bubbling with excitement over every data point. Errand, loud, loyal, always there. Even Silence slunk around the edges. I used to think Elizabeth almost single-handedly saved the world, so I had to do the same. Carry it all alone. Protect everyone by keeping them at arm's length. Varl's death, it shattered that illusion. Trying to do it alone got people killed. I learned, slowly, to trust, to delegate, to accept that others could fight alongside me, needed to fight alongside me. I used to think I had to do everything myself, I admitted to them. I was wrong. The base. It stopped being just a hideout. It became home, found family. Something Elizabeth never had time for, something Rost would have approved of, the Zeniths. Immortal, powered by nanotechnology, floating in their shiny ship. They wanted Gaia to build them a new world somewhere else, wanted to run again. Tilda, one of them, knew Elizabeth, claimed to love her, saw me, saw Beta, as replacements, echoes. It was sickening. She offered me escape, a fresh start on a new world, all the knowledge of the Zeniths, safety. I looked at her sterile perfection, at her obsession with the past. And I looked at my world. Broken, yes, scarred, dangerous, but alive, fighting. Erin's booming laugh, Katalo's dry wit, Alva's infectious curiosity, Zoe's quiet strength, Beta finding her own fire, the Tenakth defending their lands, the Utaru singing to their land gods, even the stubborn Oseram tinkering. This messy, brutal, beautiful struggle, this was real. This was worth fighting for. I told Tilda, no. Earth is my home. These people. They're my responsibility, my choice. Not Elizabeth's ghost, not Gaia's programming. Mine. I can't let that happen, I thought. Not the Zeniths taking Gaia. Not them abandoning everyone else to die. Not on my watch. We won. Again. Somehow. Cost more than I can easily say. But Gaia is restored. Nemesis dealt with. For now. The terraforming system is stabilizing. The blight receding. Machines. Well, Hephaestus is still out there, making them aggressive. But it's a problem we can manage. A problem. I don't have to manage alone anymore. That's the biggest change, I think. Knowing I don't stand alone. Rost gave me the strength to stand. Varl, Beta, all of them. They showed me the strength in standing together. South. That's the story. Motherless outcast to whatever I am now. Protector, fixer, reluctant leader, still figuring that part out. The world's safe. Safer, anyway. But safe isn't static. Hephaestus is clever. Tribes will still clash. Old prejudices die hard. There's so much old world knowledge out there, buried in ruins like this one. Knowledge that could help or hurt. I have to know what's out there, not just for fighting the next threat, but for building, understanding, helping people understand their world, their past, without fear. Helping them build a future that's better than the old world's mistakes. That's the responsibility now. Not just surviving. Not just stopping the end. But fostering the beginning. The real beginning. Elisabeth Sobeck gave her life to give the world a chance. Rost gave his life to give me a chance. The people fighting beside me now, they risk everything for the future. The best way to honor that isn't just to survive. It's to live, to learn, to build, to make sure their sacrifices forge something lasting, something worthy of this second chance world. Dawn's a few hours off. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we see what the next ridge holds. Probably trouble, but we'll handle it. Together.